Welcome, my fellow wealth hackers. My name is Erwin Cito, bringing you the Truth About Real Estate Investing show for Canadians, where we interview experts and seek out the truths on the tips and lessons from successful action takers, so you, the listener, and me may learn together how to become better investors, entrepreneurs, and human beings. Maybe even laugh a little. This episode is brought to you by me. We don't have sponsors for this show. No one listens to it. I only share with you the services owned by my wife, Cherry, and I. Real estate investing has been a staple of my life since 2005 and has allowed me to build wealth and, more importantly, achieve financial peace about knowing our future retirement is taken care of and my kids will be able to afford a home when they grow up. If you too are interested in a systematic strategy to implement the number one investment strategy, the same one pretty much all my guests are doing themselves, then go to www.infinitywealth.ca/events and register for our next free online trading class. We will be back in person for trading classes once legally allowed to do so, but for now we are 100% virtual. No need to reinvent the wheel. We have our own system down pat. Again, that's www.infinitywealth.ca/events and register for the free online trading class. This episode is also brought to you by Stock Hacker Academy, where everyday real estate investors learn the best practices in stock investing to earn cash flow in about 15 to 30 minutes per day from their mobile phones. After real estate investing, stock hacking is the next best side hustle, as you've heard from many past guests on the show. Among our students last year, 31 trades were shared with them, 30 were profitable for an over 96% success rate. I will be giving a free demonstration online, very similar to the one I gave my kid cousin. He's a full-time musician, and he made a 50% return in 2021. Pass, of course, does not predict the future, but if you'd like a free demonstration, go to www.stockhackeracademy.ca. In the top right, click free demo. At the demonstration, I'll have some special bonuses that we do not advertise publicly for all my favorite listeners, and I only have 2 more demos to give over these next few weeks. Don't delay, stockhackeracademy.ca. What I consider the future of side hustles with real estate being so unaffordable for many. On to this week's show. Hopefully you've all dug yourselves out of the snowstorm or staying warm wherever you are. I've pinged a couple of my friends who are making their way down to Florida or who are already there, and hopefully we'll be able to check in with them on this show to see how things are going, as many of them are looking for a property to buy, maybe even live in down there. For Cherry and I, we're not that ambitious. We love Canada. We will want eventually to spend our winter somewhere else, but not for now. Our investment strategy has always been to stay within an hour drive from home, where all of our wonderful power team is, including our contractors, because we need to be close to them. We don't want to go anywhere they don't go. The wheel isn't broken, and the demand is still extremely strong for our properties, both from buyers and from tenants. For example, we just had a 3-bedroom, 1-bath main floor apartment come available in a duplex in Hamilton. The previous tenant was only there for 2-3 years, and the new market rent is 30% higher. How's that for inflation? But it's never all sunshine and rainbows. A house I renovated to make the basement a permitted apartment, as in like a legal basement apartment. The floor was already installed in the basement when we bought it back in 2017 in the dip. So nice to have bought a property in the dip, the last dip. But the floor drain cover was covered, so we don't know where it is. Now there's water coming in into the basement, so my contractor has to drill holes in the flooring to find it. So it's going to be more expensive than it needs to be to repair. After that, my service line warranty will hopefully take care of the rest. So the plumber will run a camera down the drain and hopefully find where the blockage is. I pay a monthly fee of about $25 per month to warrant all the water and sewer lines on my property. So that's inside and outside of my property, but on my property. Shout out to Service Line Warranties of Canada. It's a free promo, yo. I'll keep you all posted on how it goes. Worst case, we will have to install a sump pump for around $3,000, but that shouldn't be necessary as we checked our neighbors and none of them have one. So about that snow, to my memory, that's the most I've ever shoveled in one day. Shoveled 4 times, including 2 neighbors. I helped out 2 neighbors. The kids tried to help. My son was better than my daughter. My daughter pretty much gave up after getting some snow in her boot and going back inside the house. My son moved some snow around, but he's only 6, so I don't expect much. He earned $6. Sorry, $4. He earned $4 for his effort. But then my daughter wanted to get paid. The one who had snow in her boot and went back in the house. She wanted to get paid the same. So Cherry told our daughter she can have $2 because she did not shovel nearly as much as her brother. Our daughter was not happy about that, but that's the lesson. Those who put in more effort get rewarded. I'm not raising a child who expects handouts. Hopefully she's learned her lesson, but if she hasn't, we'll keep trying. On to this week's guests. Today's show is a treat for me, as I haven't seen Stephen Jones and Don Lewis in ages. We got to know each other well. We knew each other before, but we got to know each other much better as we went on a fabled trip down to Miami, Florida for a conference in early 2019. Stephen stayed in the same Airbnb with me, my Cherry, my wife, James Moneybags Mags, and Tammy DiTomaso. We all shared an Airbnb. Don and Rick Lewis are our clients, so they were invited as well. And again, this is 2019. Not much has changed since then, right? Has anything changed in the last 3 years? Don and Rick Lewis went from running a renovation company. So they were our clients and they were buying properties and fixing them up. And they've actually moved on to, and I knew they would, they moved on to focusing their renovation efforts just on their own portfolio. They have projects and they're wholesaling on, they have projects all over on the go, all over Southern Ontario, several different markets. And they're also wholesaling and they plan to grow that wholesaling business. Together with Don, together with Rick Lewis, they own Tridium Corp. Pay particular attention to how Don explains how Don and Rick complement each other. Even though they're brothers, they have different personalities. And again, they complement one another. Then there's Stephen Jones, an old friend of mine. He's a well-known Durham investor and he's well-known within the Durham investor and Keyspire communities. He's both a successful realtor and real estate investor and owner of Blue Line Real Estate Group. This was a fun episode for me to record, as it's really cool to see how these three, if you include Rick's not here today, but three of them work together, and how they met was inside my Airbnb in Miami just 3 years ago. Please enjoy the show. Gentlemen, what's keeping you busy these days? Whoever wants to start first.
You're up.
Oh, you threw me right on the spot. Do that clap again.
No, we're not doing it again. We're already recording.
He just edits it out.
Oh, do you?
No, we're not actually. No. Nobody's listening anyways.
So yeah, the market's gone absolutely insane, and we're just trying to keep the fundamentals of buying undervalued properties, putting in some active appreciation and flipping properties, and still continuing to grow our buy and hold.
And we currently have 7 projects on the go. We have a couple in the pipeline, but we've got to keep growing that.
Yeah.
Can you break down the 7 projects? How many are them are flips, or how many are buy and hold, or?
4 are flips and 3 are buy and hold.
Yeah, so we have one in Bowmanville.
No.
That's a hold. We have 2 in Oshawa, 1 hold, 1 flip. There's a flip in Aurora, a flip in Newmarket. We just completed Barrie, and we got a beautiful one in Collingwood.
Yeah, that'll be a flip too.
Yeah.
Oh, we might want that one.
Oh, it's great. Like we really wanted to Airbnb it, but
bylaws, right?
Really tough up there. But we got it at a good price and reconfigured some of the main level to make it look awesome. It's a shame. Like we'd all love to keep it. And
pretty much the whole house is brand new septic, new everything.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So how do you decide what you're going to keep and what you're going to flip?
Just crunch the numbers. I mean, our ultimate goal is to keep the best cash flowing properties, which generally, so far, are the ones that we can put secondary suites into. The multiverse is in the future, but right now we're still multiplex verse is still multiverse.
So these are not in reality,
yes.
We're already building in the metaverse.
You put your Oculus on, I'll show you the house.
We've been thinking a lot about them.
Yeah.
No, the multi-unit is looking for an opportunity, but we're still fortunately well and capable to operate within the normal financing, and we're trying to max out that before we have to go into multi-properties and into the U.S.
Yeah.
Any of these, are these all basement suites when you're saying secondary suites? Any of them
Yeah.
additions or garden suites?
No, we don't have the ability in most of the areas to do that yet, so they are secondary suites in the basements.
And our properties typically fit the perfect avatar for that. Bungalow, 900 square feet, 1,000 square feet, walkout basement or easy access to the basement. So it's a perfect example for that.
Okay, we have to get back to Avatar in a bit.
Okay.
But before we do that, Metaverse, Avatar, all great movies. Before we get to that, how'd you guys meet?
That comes back to 2018, or is that
2018?
2019?
You're the reason
Yeah.
we met
I'm sorry.
when
You're here to serve me with lawsuit.
you and
papers.
I shared an Airbnb
Yeah.
with a couple other people, and there was a lot of drinking. Went down for the Grant Cardone 10X conference.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun, a lot of networking.
In Miami, Florida. Right?
Yeah, and I remember sitting in a chair, and I think it was Tammy and James with us, and there was a lot of new faces.
Yeah.
Who's that YouTuber?
Stephen Graham.
Stephen Graham was there. A few other people. And then
Kevin was there too.
Kevin?
Meet Kevin was there.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was. I did see him then.
Yeah. You would know they were there. They're talking to each other.
Oh.
Yeah.
Manny, a bunch of wholesalers,
Yeah.
everything else, and then
Yeah, Jeff Weibo and
Weibo was
Matt
there.
McKeever.
Matt McKeever, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Adam
Adam,
Martin, I think, was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember Don and Rick, Rick's Don's brother, walking in, and I said, "Who are these guys?" And
Were these good-looking guys?
no, I think it said Don and Rick, and the first thing I said, I go, "Who the fuck is Don and Rick? Like I should know them." and they're like, "Oh, there's these guys. They did this, that, and the other thing. They're working on a project, St. Catherine's or
St.
something."
Catherine's, yeah.
And honestly, thought nothing of it. Maybe said hello, and then got to know them a little bit later on the trip. And then we had a really nice Super Bowl party at a outside bar in South Beach, Miami.
Yeah.
That was a very expensive night.
It was wonderful, though.
A lot of fun. And then just basically, as things dissipated, we kept drinking and got into conversation. And they realized I was a realtor in Durham region. And they were super active and aggressive for looking for the next opportunity. So your brother was on me quite often, like, I want to come out, I want to come out, I want to come out.
He's very good at that.
And then we got him into a successful secondary suite conversion that ended up being a flip.
Yeah.
And then the next one, you got a deal from the mailman
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
of another great opportunity.
Yeah.
And you did another flip on that one, and
Well,
talk
yeah,
about the
well,
wholesale business after that. You started getting the wholesale.
Oh, before we get to that,
Yeah.
Don, can you talk about what were you guys doing before real estate investing?
We were contractors. So we ran a very successful contracting company for a number of years. We were featured in House and Home, a whole bunch of, we worked with higher end interior designers and all that sort of stuff in Aurora, King City primarily. We used to work on 30,000 square foot homes. So it's kind of a bit of a change from going from that to what we were doing. But that brought a lot of our expertise. And we were able to apply a lot of that into the stuff that we're doing now. But yeah, it's
So don't contractors make lots of money?
Yeah, but it's very frustrating.
Well, no way.
It's very, very frustrating dealing with clients. It's just every time, we were working with a client, we just wanted to have more say. We wanted to have more control over the project because the client would, they'd ask for our opinion and then do the total opposite. And then at the end of it, sometimes they would not be happy with it. And it's not just because the work wasn't good. The work was very good, but it's just they didn't like the outcome of what it looked like because they didn't want to listen to, some experts that were doing this as a career. My brother and I went to school for architecture. And so we have the design aspects, we have the construction knowledge and all the background there. So we really wanted to apply all of that. And for us to really apply that, we had to do really our own projects.
And then why the interest to get into real estate investing?
So it all started off with, we were just frustrated with working for clients, and we got a call for a house in Aurora the people wanted to renovate their bathroom. And Rick, just being Rick, he asked them, why do you want to do the bathroom? Oh, because we want to sell. We talked to a realtor and they recommended redoing the bathroom. Rick's like, well, instead of redoing the bathroom, why don't we just buy your house from you? We had no idea what was involved in that at all. So they kind of liked the concept. We contacted just a local realtor, asked them, what do you think this house is worth? They told us the price. We said, well, if we put in, 50 grand, maybe we can get that, make 10 grand. And so we somehow got it under contract. I don't know how. Figured out how to write the paperwork. We're missing some stuff, but our lawyer helped fill that stuff in, the missing information, got it under contract. And, I think we closed 60 days later. Well, first off, before closing, we had to figure out how we were going to pay for this. We didn't think about that.
Small problem, yeah.
Yeah. So yes, we have a house on the contract. And the lawyer's like, okay, go to your bank and get it all arranged. Shit, we have to do that, don't we? So Rick, just called everybody he knew to figure out, does anybody want to, have money to lend us? Nobody had that kind of money to lend us.
You could just go walk into the bank?
800 grand. So it's just not like, a $200,000 house.
Right.
It was, so then we, he reached out to one of his friends. His friend's like, yeah, I'll bring the money for you. I want equity in it. Well, how much do you want? So long story short, he was a partner on the project. He funded the whole thing. We were the working partner.
Sorry, he funded the whole thing?
Funded the whole thing
He
with
bought
cash.
it cash.
With cash.
Of course he
paid
wanted
for the
equity.
reno, and he just wanted his take on it, and we did everything, and we had no idea what we were doing, but we figured it out. We had, we figured we have all the construction experience. We know what to do. We can just apply what we did with all of our renovation work, and turned out to make a huge profit. Then we got addicted to it.
You got the bug.
Yeah.
Do you share what you sold it for?
1.2.
How much do you think you put into it?
50.
That's it?
Yeah.
You
30
want
30
to
days.
partner with them on the next one?
30 days. And we did it all in 30 days. And we worked, Rick and I worked 14-hour days.
That's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
And then what was next?
Then we sold the house, and we had a lot of money. Like, what do we do with this? So then we decided. I think actually I called somebody, and then to say we wanted to look for a house to flip again, and your brokerage came up, and then we got in contact with James, and then James started showing us a few houses around, and that's how we ended up working with James in St. Catharines.
And then it was James that invited you to...
It was James that invited us, yeah.
Actually, before we move on, let's slander St. Catharines a little bit. I don't think they have the ability to sue us. So you've expanded your business a lot in terms of your the properties you own, flip, whatever, where you choose to target market for wholesale purposes. Mm-hmm. Why did you not continue in St. Catharines? I know the answer, but I don't...
It was just distance-wise was one.
Yeah. Because you live in...
I live in Aurora.
Aurora, yep.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a trek to go out there all the time because, Rick and I were still doing all of the work. So it was very difficult to be driving there. Luckily we were able to keep our wives because we lived on site. We got so frustrated with driving that we just stayed there Monday to Friday. So we slept in the renovation. That was kind of difficult, but it's part of our journey, I would say. But it was just, the township was kind of annoying to deal with, just with the renovation work and the conversions, because that's where we started doing conversions as well. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it was just, we thought about Hamilton, but it was very busy. We just wanted something a little bit closer to home.
Got it. So you were trying to do a duplex in St. Catharines?
We started with a single family flip.
Yeah.
Flipped that, and then as we were working on that house, one of the neighbors came over and asked what we were doing. And then she was thinking of selling her house because she was retiring, but she didn't want the neighbors to know what was going on, and didn't want the neighbors to know that she was moving or retiring or anything. So she asked us if we wanted to buy the house. And so we went over, took a look at the house, asked for James's opinion on the house and stuff like that, and we got it for an incredible deal, just because she wanted out a certain date. And then we were going to go renovate it, but we didn't end up doing anything because we closed on it and then just put it back up for sale. Made a couple bucks doing that. It was, we had too much other stuff going on at the same time. Mm-hmm. And then we did our first conversion, and that was a pain in the ass.
In St. Catharines?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's They need some change in government if they ever plan on having private investment be the one that create more housing.
Yeah.
At least on the small scale, on the infill scale.
Just working with different municipalities, you see some 100% on board, and other ones it's really tough.
It's just they seem to make it so difficult, but yet for us, when we were doing with the inspectors had no idea what they were looking at.
Were they nice about it? Or were they arrogant?
No, they're
about
like, well, I don't know. Is this how you do that? We're like, you're supposed to be the building department. Like, we can't be telling you how this is supposed to be done. When that was our first project too.
Here's Ontario Building Code.
Right.
You read this, right?
And I remember because we were using Andy on that one, and I think he had to go back and forth with them a couple of times too because they weren't understanding what we were doing. And it's like it's very simple. What we're trying
Following
to do.
code.
Yeah, and then like there's a square footage maximum too you can have, which is I think pretty stupid as well. Like 750 square feet or whatever it is, but the basement we were doing was like 1100, so we had to keep half of it, and then it got grandfathered in. It felt kind of stupid. Their rules like just backwards. I don't know if they've changed since then.
No, I don't think they've changed. No.
So
some of them, like Oshawa, is pretty lenient, and then you just go over to Whitby, and it changes a bit again. Like I think you can only have something like 80% can be a basement unit. Well, when you're dealing with 1,000 square foot, say bungalow with no garage, you have 1,000 square feet below. So they force you to keep a stairwell in and have this open area for upstairs, and it makes no sense. No.
Yeah.
And then you guys meet in Miami, Florida.
Yep.
Yep.
Stephen, where do you live?
I live in Whitby.
Whitby.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I live in Durham. That's kind of the hub of where we got started in the Whitby, Oshawa area.
Got it. And you guys met in Miami. Two
all
Canadians.
in Miami.
Yep.
Because you're like an hour, you probably live like an hour apart from each other.
Yeah,
right?
just under an hour.
But you met in Miami.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting and it's not at the same time.
Yeah.
It's you build connections with people that you are like-minded really quickly.
Yeah. But even the step before that was you said yes to something. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to this conference.
Yeah. I actually had to convince Rick to go.
Did you?
Because I remember James saying, "Oh, we're going to the Grant Cardone thing." I knew who Grant Cardone was, but Rick was like, "Who's that?" Didn't know, and he's like, "I don't want to go down for that."
I think
I almost had to drag him down for that.
You convinced me to go.
I don't think you need much convincing.
No, I just said yes.
Yeah. Yeah, wasn't it fun?
No, it was great, but you took a lot of work out of it. Like I have an Airbnb. Stay there.
Yeah.
And I remember it was a 2-bedroom Airbnb, and there was 6 people going.
Yeah.
And there's, Erwin and his wife are in one room, and they're like, "Who's getting the other room?" And Erwin's like, "The guy that signed up first." So I had this room, king size bed to myself. Everybody else is on the couch and in the living room. So I was.
Did he actually even go to the conference?
Yes, I made it there. I just left early for medicinal reasons.
Okay.
Vitamin D.
Yeah, vitamin D. D for drink.
I was being more like sunshine
Yeah.
versus sitting in a closed stadium.
No, that was a good crew and a great trip.
Yeah, because I bring that up because about the fact you said yes, because a lot of people said no. Most people say no. Like I'm just like I'm just offering people an opportunity. Like, hey, we're going to this thing. Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Also, you don't give us too much credit for the Airbnb. I don't know if you remember the neighborhood it was in.
No, you couldn't leave the place.
No, but it was a sweet Airbnb.
You couldn't leave the place.
The place was nice.
Yeah, that was
where
nice.
it was located was not so nice.
Yeah. But you were tagging on Summit at the Seas at the end of that.
Yeah.
We were supposed to go on a cruise.
Right.
And I
was
had
awesome.
a family emergency that I had to cancel that part of the trip. But you continued on.
Yeah.
No, that was... Yeah, my wife was supposed to fly down on Super Bowl Sunday, and we were all supposed to depart the Monday after.
And jump on the Carnival cruise.
Yeah.
Which is like a death trap now. But
Yeah. No, I was really looking forward to that.
You got on it early.
Looking forward to that adventure, but we'll have to
it totally sucked.
tee it up another time. Yeah.
Hanging with Christy and Brady all that time.
How do you write off a cruise? Well, it's a meeting place.
Yeah.
Summit at the Seas. All right. Sounds great.
And that conference was great. Yeah, the Airbnb wasn't a great location.
It's better than we were staying.
The so I remember when we first left the Airbnb. It's just Cherry and I, because we were there first. When we left just to go explore the area, I saw a drug deal happen right there at the corner that I was located.
Oh
at.
yeah. That corner variety
Don't
store.
look.
Yeah.
Don't look. I'm not making eye contact. I saw nothing.
No, you keep your head down. There was a store right beneath us, and it was sketchy just going to there.
Yeah.
Damn. I think
What was he? Was it called Little Havana? Was that the community?
The
we're in?
community, yes. The
Little
community,
Havana?
Yeah,
yes.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uber Eats 3 times a day. Nobody wanted to go to a restaurant nearby.
It's better than what we had.
So what's changed since then? 2018. Not much has changed since 2018, right?
Nothing.
No, other than I went from being.
Don, I know you got married, but yeah.
Yes.
I know.
Nothing.
Lots has changed.
I went from being your realtor
Mhm.
and a little bit of a coach into finding out that all of our views and goals and were tightly aligned, and found out that each of us provided tremendous amount of value on our own to each other. So it was kind of inevitable that partnership formed.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? Because I know people always trying to develop partnerships. I know some listeners, for example, they don't believe they have any skills to bring to the table. And then there's some people, I believe, who believe in themselves a little bit too much and don't ask for help. So what's the working relationship here?
I've always been a firm believer on either hire or partner for your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And in this situation, you've told me a couple times, yourself and your brother, you had mentioned you felt like you were holding them back.
Yeah.
Because you have different personalities on one being more risk adverse versus the other. And I remember you saying that I kind of fit in the middle of keeping everything in line. And for me, if we were reindeer, Rick would be the one at the front with the red nose, a little crazy, and me and you would be in the back working systematically, trying to get it to all work out.
Yeah.
Partners, you definitely have to be in line for it to happen naturally, and very fortunate in this situation that we have. We feel we have all sides covered, and when we don't, we're the first to just hire everything else that we can. You just have to use that leverage to grow.
We align very well, I find.
How do you guys divide up the work? Who's got like what role, what job, what role
I
does that
take
entail?
primarily, I control most of the construction part of everything. Rick will do a lot of the sales. Steve also helps with a lot of that.
Yeah, we're still, any successful business has more of a defined role, and we've grown so big so fast that it's really hard at this point to try to super compartmentalize everything.
Mm-hmm.
We all are kind of wearing various hats, and as we refine into the future, obviously it will be a little bit less to focus on our growth.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of corporate logistics, as your wife met with us today to talk about. I play a very active role in that. Also, acquisitions, dispositions. I have minimal to do with construction, but slightly involved in budgeting as well.
Mm-hmm.
Rick is kind of taking the lead on the sales, on bringing in new properties.
Mm-hmm.
But we, as a team, we vet everything, and then for us to function, like each one of us all has like full signing authority for the company. Because if we all have a mutual agreement, but we have in the business, you have to act so quick, so efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
We have a listing coming. Well, we're selling 3 of our properties this month.
Yeah.
So I may just be assigning authority on the sale of that, but obviously going through everybody before we go. We're not trying to add up on anybody's work. We're trying to just divide it up.
Yeah, divide and conquer.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing that I enjoy too is that sometimes people try to get rich quick in their businesses, where for us it's we take what we need,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else we roll it back into the machine. So the more that we can roll it back in the machine, the quicker it will snowball into the growth of our company. So nobody's trying to get rich quick. We just pay ourselves the minimum that we need to get qualified for the mortgages that we want. Period.
But you guys all have distinct businesses, separate businesses. Did you start another business to come together?
Yeah, well, that's what we're working on today is our structure.
Okay.
Because I'm an existing investor, BC, Edmonton, GTA, and stuff like that. So we're just trying to figure out how it all works in.
Oh my God, this is so complicated.
Oh, I what was that? What did I have?
Thank you for patting my wife's accounting stats.
I think I have 11 or 12 companies.
Oh my God.
I think it's something
Right?
like that, yeah.
And it's just figuring out how everything works together within stop laughing.
Yeah.
I get mad about how many credit cards are in my wallet.
It's only
I don't even know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse. We know that. So yeah, we have to. Our back end has to be strong in order to continue to grow, and we can't think about it. The first thing we did as a partnership was bookkeeper. We want nothing to do with that. We want impartial eyes on the transparency the whole way through. We want nothing to do with it. It's not our forte. If we're working on books and pinch and pennies and that,
No,
we can't grow.
because the numbers are very, very important. You need to know the numbers. They need to be up to date. You need to have your taxes done properly. All of it's key.
Yeah, I think people investors always run into this issue when they're starting up, especially when they're starting up and they're growing fast. Is like, because I hear it. My wife's an accountant, for anyone who doesn't know. I hear about it because then an investor will be like, "Hey, accountant, I need my taxes done so I can go get a mortgage on a property I'm supposed to close it in 60, 90 days." Like, can you imagine that disaster?
No, that
Right,
would be,
especially if your bookkeeping's not done.
that
No, it's
I would not want to go down that road.
it's actually it's a huge strategy involved, and I mean, you've heard the saying, he who has the gold makes the rules.
Yeah, and that's the bank.
Right?
Yeah.
Banks.
Yeah.
So we have to put on this hat over here, this hat,
Yeah.
and so forth and so on. So that's almost the job on its own, is just the structure. Because none of us, one thing we have in common is we don't like to be told no. We like to be told, no, you can't do it this way. But if this, and this are in line, we can move forward with it. That's the kind of thought process we have.
You really need 11 companies.
Probably not. Probably not.
just
But
today.
I listen to my accounting department. But
We're opening up another one.
your wife has us setting up number
Another one.
Thank you kindly. I guess I'll buy lunch today.
another one. But it's tough. Like when you involve, like later on, you set up family trusts, and how does that cooperate with everything involved?
Yeah.
And there's a whole, you have to start thinking about division of assets later on in life, right?
Yeah, because you guys had to meet with 2 partners of the firm, so that was a serious meeting.
Yeah.
Complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don, how many companies do you have?
I don't know. I lose count now. I think of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5.
Thank you for contributing to my.
Yeah, we have 4. We have 4.
Well, 4 plus 1.
4 plus 1.
Yeah, so I will have 5.
Yeah. Look at us talk about one. Let's talk about our problems.
Yeah.
So there's a pandemic and people are pissed off. We're not going there. Where do we go from here? Like, okay, hang on. You guys mentioned a lot of things at the opening. Don, for those who don't know what wholesaling is, what is wholesaling? Because Steven, you're not allowed to talk about it because we're realtors. We hate those people.
What? No, we hate wholesalers.
We never buy
I'm
those.
in the
We
room,
buy them
guys.
ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm in the room.
Okay, how many realtors do you know, like, personally, who didn't buy a wholesale deal? Yeah, right. Or it's like
I buy them.
It's like the financial planners, because I have lots of financial planners who are clients who work for the bank and they own investment property.
There's a misunderstanding between realtors and wholesalers, completely. I'll say my little spiel before
Go for
you
it.
say
Yeah.
yours.
Okay. Well,
Wholes-
Adam, mute Mike. Mute Don's mic.
Wholesalers are problem solvers. So
The good ones.
the good ones,
Yes.
because they go in and they are the best listeners I've ever seen. And they are able to sit down and actually understand the seller and what they're looking for. Maybe they're too private that they don't want people through their home.
Yeah.
Maybe they have bad debt. Maybe they're in a sticky situation. Maybe they got nowhere to go, nowhere to move.
They're a hoarder.
Hoarder. And a realtor may go in and say, okay, well, we need you out. We're going to charge you a little bit extra money because we're going to empty your home. We're going to paint it and we're going to stage it. We're going to put it on the market. And
Put all this stuff in storage.
and these sometimes they have nowhere to go, right? And could be dealing with some emotional issues or mental issues. And
if they have animals too, if they have pets.
They have animals.
If they
and
have dogs especially.
It just can't be done. Where wholesalers can come in and go, okay, nobody will look at the property. We're not going to pay you retail. They'll tell them that right to their face.
Yeah.
We're going to pay you wholesale price, which is, minus the real estate fees and any sort of risk. They'll charge them that price. But I've personally seen these guys go in because there's actually people that own houses that can't afford to get first and last. So they own this asset worth $500,000, $700,000. They cannot come up with $4,000 for first and last to even move. So they're stuck in these situations. And the wholesalers will come in and help them. They will either pay or lend them first and last in advance. They could have some financial issues that they can immediately give them or loan them money. They can accommodate any one of their requests. And every single one of testimonials I've seen from wholesalers have come back glowing from these people, because most realtors don't have the capacity to go in and either offer that or the thought process to do it, because it's outside of the box that they normally work inside of. So yes, I'm a realtor. I deal with both sides of these things, and I understand both sides of these things. Realtors, for the most part, think that they're just ripping off clients, but the wholesalers are doing so much more for these clients than 99% of realtors would ever do. So that's my 2 cents on it, but...
All right, have at 'em, Don.
You summed it up pretty well. Right, I would say so. But yeah, a lot of the time it's these people, their houses need renovations, or financially they're stuck in a situation. We don't take advantage of these people. We're there to help them, get them on to the next stage of their life, right? So they can actually keep moving on instead of being stuck in this situation where nobody wants to help them, right? We've had one client he was going to be going in, the bank was going to start taking his home if he missed the next payment. So he called us, we gave him a fair value for the house. Then he told us all this was happening. So we loaned him money ahead of time at 0 interest, gave him a check for it, relied on, just signed a piece of paper saying, you owe me this money. He was able to make all those payments, and it kept him from going through all that stuff if his house got taken from the bank, right? And then we loaned him money for first and last as well for his next rental he was going to go to. And then, even on day of closing, I guess he burned through some of that money just paying. He was so far behind on bills. He phoned me the day of closing and said, look, I need one more day because I got to wait for the money from the bank so I can pay my movers. So I said, get your movers to call me, and I paid the bill for him.
Legal fees,
Everything.
movers,
Everything.
legal issues.
First and last month's rent.
First and last, yeah, I think we put up like 25 grand.
Yeah.
And I gave the lawyers 20 grand in trust, right? Just to help him out, to get him onto the next stage of his life.
You guys have dropped off moving boxes, bins.
A scenario we had in Bowmanville. This was a bit of a hoarder's house. Him and his brother lived in the house. They inherited it from his parents that died, I think it was about 9 years ago. They've lived in that house their whole life. They didn't move out of that house. They didn't know what to do with the house because the house is still in their parents' name. They called.
Wait.
The
They're still
lawyer
around?
would not change anything over.
But they're dead.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, the
He did not want to do it.
Probate took
Yeah. So
half a year.
it took us, that deal took 6 months to get under contract. Long story short, we were able to our lawyer was talking with their lawyer and lit a fire under their ass to tell them, like, you haven't been doing your job for your clients. And got everything, all the probate dealt with no problems at all. They had no idea any of this could happen.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one before. You seen that one before?
No shower. He was bathing himself in the kitchen sink for 7 years
Yeah.
in this place.
All right.
Had limited ability. His family struggled with him, so they were all fighting with the guy living in the house.
Yeah.
These guys contacted housing agencies, had people from the region of Durham come in, interview him, find a process, eventually got him a place to live, and he was so grateful because he got the first shower in 7 years.
And I think he was in a motel that they were covering 100% of the cost until they could put him in somewhere. They paid for everything. He didn't know these programs existed.
That's wacky.
You're a social worker, actually,
Am I?
with a degree.
Some made you think you're a saint.
Right. So we want to help these people out.
I'm not sure where to go next because I know the listener wants to know how wholesaling works because there's a lot of people getting into it. I don't even know how many people actually stay in it. Like how many wholesalers I've known come and gone.
Yeah.
Especially all the ones we don't know about. So yeah, just touch on that. What's worked for you guys? What's worked for you guys in wholesaling?
Consistency.
Consistency.
Yeah. Just consistency. Consistency. Sorry. We have a marketing plan. It's not just, we don't just throw flyers out there and wait. We have goals we have to achieve with it. We send about 50,000 flyers a month. We have people.
Sorry, how much does that cost?
I think it is 19 cents a flyer.
Just to make or that's
printed
all?
and shipped.
Okay.
Yeah. 19 and a half cents.
10 grand.
Yeah. Adds up.
Where did you learn this from?
Just contacting people, talking to other people, events, and just trial and error.
And your referrals are starting to trickle in too.
Yeah. We get some referrals as
Yeah.
well because we pay for referrals for other people. Like one of our sub trades, they do a lot of renovations. He's a window guy and he does renovations on homes for people. And he's gotten us 2 referrals on homes, and just these people want to do their windows and whatever. It's like, well, call them. Maybe they'll just buy your house as is, so you don't have to renovate.
Oh, that's smart. That doesn't have to do the work either.
No, they
Just
don't
get
do
paid.
anything. Leave
Yeah.
that all up to us, especially in a time like this during COVID with material shortages.
Well, I mean your sub trade as well.
Oh yeah.
No, they don't have to be
Right? He gets cash. Right? He's happy.
Yeah.
And
Does
that
it-
And he still gets a window order, by the way.
That
He just
property
measures
is,
them early for us.
That property's a long-term hold.
Yeah. That's one of our long-term holds.
Yeah, we just
Yeah. The other one was just a flip. Yeah.
$4,700 a month rent. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get that in a bit. We'll get that in a bit because I already had put that down to something I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Quit kicking me.
Oh, both got long legs.
Steven just wants to talk
I'm
about
keeping
numbers.
mine to myself.
Doesn't care about wholesaling.
Yeah.
You can tell he secretly hates wholesalers.
I know.
That's why he's kicking.
Well, why is he
wants-
kicking you?
I know. No, he wants to get off the topic of wholesaling. So for someone starting out, where should they focus on? Flyers, door knocking, Facebook ads? Like, where should they start, and then what's the next level?
Door knocking and flyers.
Door knocking and flowers.
Yeah. The digital space is very crowded. I mean, the flyers are very crowded too. But I would say that the getting in front of people is number one, especially if you're a genuine person, right? You got to be able to connect with somebody because that's what they're looking for.
What about your flyer gets people to call? Because like you said, it's busy. I know it's busy. Like
Yeah.
I have lots of friends in Hamilton. They show me all the ones they get.
Yeah. We have our face on our flyer.
Hmm.
That's us. So both Rick and I, we're brothers. So it's just, I think that's a level of confidence for some people. And we're just open about our message on our flyer.
What's the message?
Oh, it depends on the flyer. They're all different flyers. Depends on the market.
But you guys are starting to get tied into the communities.
Yeah.
Like I saw you guys do the Feed the Need in Durham.
Yeah, every year.
You guys are part of the Better Business Bureau.
Yeah.
You guys are part of the Oshawa
Chamber of
Commerce.
Yeah.
So when these people are looking into your flyers,
There's credibility.
there's credibility in that you are tied to the community that I believe may help. Because before I knew you guys, before I knew what wholesaling was, driving down the road going, we buy homes cash, you're like, okay, beat it, whoever you are, it doesn't make sense. And
It's the same message all the time.
Yeah. And then
different phone number.
reviews as well. Just from, it's hard to get reviews out of previous sellers, but those reviews, you know, the ones that are happy, like all of them are happy. We want other people to know what, you know, what have we done for you? Can you leave us a review? So other people, if they're in that same scenario, like, give us a call. We want to be an option for people, right? A lot of people think, okay, I'm going to sell my house, I have to call a realtor. You don't have to call a realtor. You can call a private home buyer, right? Which would be somebody like us. You have an option. Get a second opinion, right? Especially if your house needs renovation work. Right? If it's turnkey, it's nothing. I can't add any value to your home, right? You're best off maybe just selling it with a realtor on the market, unless you need a quick, simple exit, right? But at that point, you're gonna get a discounted price because, you know, the wholesaler or myself as a private home buyer, we need to make some sort of money, right? We're in business. We're a business, just like anything else.
Yeah, I remember a wholesaler brought me a property in Ancaster. It was like a 7-year-old home. It was a really nice house. The only thing was that she was a bit of a hoarder. Not terrible, but a bit of a hoarder. And the place was a little bit dirty. Not horrific. So we're looking at like, what's the rent? Like the rent numbers wouldn't have made sense. It'd be like, you know, maybe $2,500, but it's like a $700,000 house. No ability to suite, because like a 7-year-old house, rarely can you ever have any separate side entrance unless we're gonna go dig. Right. So it's, you know, we told then I got brought in. It's like I told the owner, like, I can make you more money selling this place, even as is, than anything we can do as an investor. Right. So highest and best use for the owner is we just list it. Yeah, we did well. She did well.
I think when it comes down to it, if everything's in line, a realtor will net the greatest sale price, not necessarily net in your pocket. But everything has to be aligned for that to happen. But as soon as you start to have issues, it's definitely an option. I mean, the last house we bought in Oshawa was from a realtor that found themselves with clients that were in the exact same situation, that they struggled with the process of going to MLS. And that was brought over to our team exclusively because of, and in the hot market, 100% would have netted them a greater value on the market. But after their agent spoke to them and found out exactly what their needs were, they made the decision to approach us for the sale.
So you mentioned Avatar, Don. I made a note of that. I made a note of a couple of things. What do you mean by Avatar? And we're not talking about the movie.
But no, the Avatar, that's pretty much for the majority of properties we want to buy. So our typical Avatar is a bungalow that's been, that was built between 1950 and 1990s. Because after 1990s, like you said, it's a little bit harder to do the suites because you have to do a dig out because the stairs may not be in an ideal spot. And in a market that makes sense for at least for our conversions. And that's really what it's got to fit. It's got to be that type of bungalow.
Got it.
It's got to have a minimum 7'4" ceiling height in the basement. We can move ductwork, we can move beams and stuff like that, but we have to have at least minimum height.
It's funny because when you hear Avatar, it's usually referring to people.
Well, I consider a house like a property. It's got to be. That's how I look at it, right?
Usually, like our customer demographic.
Yeah.
Because I have an avatar for my tenant. Right? I never thought of it. You have an avatar for my property.
Right? Because you're always looking for the same thing.
It means the same thing. Yeah. Like I'm looking for someone that fits what fits in my box that I'm targeting.
Because for our sales, like if we get a lead that comes in from a flyer or something, as soon as we have the address, we can Google Map it, and now we can see, does this check all of our boxes, which would be our avatar. If it meets our avatar, that's perfect for our scenario.
And I can see why you need to apply that to Rick.
Otherwise, everything.
Bungalows were popular then.
And those
7 out of 10 homes between the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s were bungalows. Now you're looking at 90% not. Everybody's two-story unless you're elderly or smaller
Yeah.
families.
Yeah.
So there's plentiful of them available.
So it's not like we won't buy the other ones. It's just those don't fit our 100% buying criteria. We'll still look at them. It's just they're going to be, option B for us. Like we're going to look. We're going to go after the bungalows first.
It's not something you're likely to hold, unless
No.
you figure out
No.
something else you can do.
So if
with
we're
it.
going to hold it, we can. It's a certain price. If we're going to flip it, has to be. We have to look at our numbers very critically.
Yeah,
Right.
we only hold one 2-story in
Yeah, that's
GTA.
it. That's it.
So like the original Aurora property, would that fit into your
No,
property
that was
avatar?
a 2-story. 2-story, 3-car garage, and just
Oh, I
it
hate
wouldn't have
those.
worked for that at all.
Hate 3-car garage.
Yeah.
I'd love one actually. Somewhere to put a gym. So a recent property that you decided to keep. Could you share what the numbers are on that? Because I always want the listener to have an idea of like what other investors are, what their criteria is. Because the worst thing that people could do is try to figure out their criteria watching HGTV. Well, I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that.
I think because of the lift in the property, I mean, if we shared numbers, they wouldn't even make sense. People,
No.
But
because
still,
you couldn't touch that number right
But
now.
even after you refinanced it, you decided to hold it, right?
Yeah. So quite often, other than one so far, we've been able to pull out over 100%, and leave none of our original capital into it.
Yeah.
In one case, we'll call it a home run coming up.
Yeah.
Purchase price was $430.
Yeah.
Closing costs were
437.5.
$437.5.
Yeah.
Closing costs were 10. It's a reno, close to 200 because of the
Yeah.
flood.
My word. Whoa. That's a serious rental budget.
It's top to bottom drywall, like
yeah.
it was down to studs. This is the bit of the hoarder house where they, the curtains were 50 years old. The wallpaper is 50 years old.
Roof, soffits,
Everything,
fascia,
top to bottom.
everything.
Roof soffit fascia. The whole thing was
windows,
shot.
Windows.
HVAC.
Was it all molded from the flood? Like what?
No, the flood was.
Halfway through the reno.
Yeah, we were able to get it
Yeah.
cleaned up. But we have an ARV.
After repair value, yeah.
Yes, 400 meters away 6 weeks ago for 1.150.
Right. So you had a comparable sell for
1.150.
comparable. Got it. And then
So that's just shy of 500K.
so you're still in the progress.
It's being refinanced.
It'll be done by.
Yeah.
Yeah. The project's done tomorrow.
Yeah.
What's the
Gets
appraised
refinanced
value?
next week.
Is the appraisal reasonable?
Appraisal hasn't come in, but we
Yeah.
have a direct. That's a legal secondary suite in that,
Uh-huh.
and we
Well,
have
the comparable is the one for 1.15.
Ours is.
ours is.
Okay.
Theirs isn't.
Okay.
So ours is actually superior, but appraisers have been the vein of our existence lately. So we'll see what it comes in at, but it's a hard one to fight off that one.
Right.
Be pretty close to that, I would say.
Right. And then what city is this? We haven't gone through that yet.
Bowmanville.
Bowmanville.
Yeah.
So that's east of Oshawa, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just next town.
What is that? Like 20 minutes? 30 minutes?
10, 15.
15.
Duplexes in Bowmanville are 1.15.
Well, look, tell them what the rent's going to be.
Yeah, rent, whole same thing, 4700.
Can you split it up? What's the upstairs?
We're getting 26. We just did an upstairs for 28, but realistically, I'd put the upstairs at 26 and lower around 21, 22. Utilities extra.
Did you separate utility? Did you do like separate mechanical
meters.
systems or
No,
just meters?
Just meter. I don't find the return on investment for the other things worth it.
Yeah, I know one guy that does them on all of his.
I
Separate
can see it if you're
mechanicals.
doing a new build, sure, but I just
Yeah,
don't.
for sure. No,
Like,
I mean,
we brought gas in the house, didn't have gas. It was still on oil.
It was oil.
was it on septic too?
No, luckily not.
Crazy. I haven't seen an oil house in ages.
Oh, we still have them, like,
Yeah, it's still a good amount of them.
yeah, in Oshawa.
They used to be the best because nobody wanted them.
No.
Be happy when I saw oil.
It still turns a lot of people off. I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it turns people off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can sell the oil. If there's oil left, you can still sell it. There's value in everything.
Man. Yeah, I never got paid for mine. I was always just happy to someone would take it away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, someone even took one. Yeah, that's funny. Never mind. Yeah. In case anyone needs to know, I just put it on Kijiji. The last one was years ago. I just put it on Kijiji, and someone just came and took it away. They wanted to scrap
for the metal.
both. They wanted both.
Yeah, they want both.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not everyone wants both, but some
Yeah.
people want
The tank's
both.
a little bit harder to get rid of. The oils,
Yeah.
especially for farmers or whatever. A lot of they just use it for burning.
We just
Yeah, for heating. Yeah.
Yeah, heating
closed
too.
on a property a couple months ago, and some guy was just aggressively being our best friend, looking for any metal around that he could find, like bikes, and
Cleaned up
took
the
down that carport for us.
Cleaned out the whole backyard for us. We didn't have to do demo.
Yeah,
He got rid of everything.
I think he said it. Don't quote me on this, but I think he said they get 60 cents a pound now.
Crazy.
And that adds up when you fill up
Well,
a
he took
truck.
all the fencing. He took the
truck and a
bikes.
trailer.
He took the tires too.
Yeah.
Oh,
He took the carport. He took everything.
Denise and Stuart have you all beat. The people took the house for them.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
They're going to tear it down. So
Yeah.
the demo and removal would have been like 40 grand. I think the
Yeah.
quote was. Someone took it for them.
That's awesome. That's brilliant.
They had a piece of land they wanted to put the house on. So
That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's smart.
Good.
how's that for savings? 40
That
grand
is savings.
savings.
Didn't think about that.
Yeah. And none of it ends up in the landfill. It's beautiful,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's win-win. All right, I
Good.
forget where we're going. Did you mention something about national?
He did catch on.
Well, you're not supposed to say that. We need to edit that part.
Yeah, so we're just taking
You can
our
go, yeah.
process
Yeah.
and going national this year. We have enough friendships,
Yeah.
as I'm sure you do too, across the country,
like you.
and gonna start taking our avatar to other cities. There's 5,500 cities and towns in Canada. Why focus on 3 or 4?
And that's all
Right.
bungalows.
Can
Avatar
you
fits.
share which ones you're going to first target? You're not going to do it all at once, are you?
No, we're not gonna do it
Rick would
all at
love
once. Yeah, right. But currently it's staying in Ontario, but expanding beyond our comfort zone where we're not forced to be on site. So we're creating systems and teams in place in other markets that we can operate externally from.
Cool.
It cannot be within a reasonable distance to drive to.
For yourselves? Or?
Yeah. Like it can't be like, we have a project in Kitchener right now. Like I can just get in the car and drive to Kitchener. But if it's in, let's say, Windsor, I'm not going to hop in the car and drive to Windsor, right? We have to be able to figure it out over the phone, over Zoom, because then we can take it outside of the province. But that is our goal.
Yeah.
You're pretty lucky to be in this province, though.
I think so. Some people may not, but I think so.
Yeah, what's on our radar? Moncton, New Brunswick.
Yeah.
Maybe dip my toes back to Edmonton. I took a tour up in Thunder Bay, flew up there for the day, came back. You just have to worry about some vacancies and stuff like that. But they're all seeing the upside that we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
But generally speaking, if it's, the banks are tough to finance things, I probably put a JV if the property was like 200,000 or 300,000. There's no sense us getting involved in something like that. But yeah, and I have a love for BC too. BC's done really well for me.
Are you still doing... Because BC was new construction, was it not?
Yeah, I for now it's new for me, but we are in conversations with our realtor teams out there that we are looking for multi-unit value-add projects.
We need to commit to going to the next, whatever, grant conference.
Sure.
Maybe next year.
Where's he at? This last one, he did Vegas?
There should
I
be. When's
think-
the next one coming up?
He should be due for one, like
Was
now.
due one this year, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was February last. I think it's usually in February, March, April-ish.
Super Bowl, February.
Yeah,
So we were there in February. I think he
Yeah.
does them usually,
around that
early
time.
early in the year.
Yeah, as long as it's somewhere hot, I'm in.
Yeah.
It's either Vegas or Florida.
It's not Chicago or something like that.
So it'll likely be Vegas. I think they're probably going to be Vegas going forward.
Mm.
They had trouble with the venue that we were at. I think you all remember.
That sound.
Yeah.
I
Remember
didn't know
Echoey
that was going to happen.
Open the roof, close the roof.
Yeah, they were struggling
Talk
the first.
quieter.
The second day was better, but the first day was terrible for that.
But that's the Marlins Stadium. Like,
They didn't know.
There's usually
they
and there's
must.
probably more people in there usually, right?
No, still.
But there's no grass. There's no. It's all hard surfaces.
Is that what the problem was? Okay,
You
for
need- you
for
need
listeners'
soft surface,
benefit, we were at the conference was hosted in Marlins Stadium, which is a baseball stadium, so it's no different than Skydome, Rogers Center, whatever it's called these days.
You know how they don't like doing music concerts at
Yeah, they never
Skydome
have.
here.
Yeah,
So
because the sound bounces off the roof and comes and then hits you.
Yeah,
so
you
you
have
get
to-
the original sound and then you get the bounce. So that's why you
best
hear
to
it
just
twice.
follow where they do music concerts,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was hard to focus. I still was able to focus enough.
Mm-hmm.
I was fine. I don't know.
I left early every day.
Headache? Vitamin
Sure,
D?
sure.
Vitamin D, yeah.
Right. Oh, I had a question. I forgot to write down the question, but are you guys sharing the name of the new business? Is it going to be a publicly used name? Or are you
We were thinking of the
Blue Line Tritium?
we were thinking of the restaurant or the bar that we met at in South Beach, Miami, which was it was called the Clevelander.
Yeah.
That was epic.
So, do we dare?
I think we do.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to use the name of Clevelander? It's going to be on the flyers?
No, that's
Or the Cleveland Brothers?
That's just a operating
Yeah.
company name. It won't be out there.
We're definitely going to use it.
Yeah,
That way our accounting firm will remember it.
they will.
Sorry, I don't know how we doing for time.
55 minutes?
Oh, that's it? Okay. We can go for another hour, right, guys?
Reached.
Just to let the listener in on the joke, these guys didn't even know they were coming on the show.
It's even better.
I only knew you guys were coming in the office
Yeah.
yesterday. You guys came for an accounting meeting. You stayed
We
for a
got
podcast. How'd you get the Collingwood property? Like,
Off market flyer.
you were flying that area too.
Yeah.
How many areas do you flyer now?
A lot. So we do Collingwood, Bradford, Aurora, Newmarket.
Oshawa,
Newmarket
Oshawa.
too, eh?
Yeah. Bowmanville, Whitby,
soon to be St. Thomas.
Whitby too, eh?
Thomas, yeah.
St. Thomas.
Kitchener. Go to Kitchener.
You
Waterloo.
skipped London?
Haven't gone that far yet. Peterborough.
Sorry, where's St. Thomas?
London.
Just south of London.
Okay. Oh,
I think
okay.
southish.
So St. Thomas is close to London. Okay.
Oh, Keswick.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's inside of Keswick? God, I live close to it. It'll come to me.
Kleinberg. No.
No.
Sorry, what's your city avatar? Other than it has to be out close, other than drivable.
So for our current model, it is if we're going to be doing a conversion, it has to be a rental area. So like Aurora is not a huge rental market.
And Newmarket is.
Newmarket is more than Aurora.
No kidding. eh?
Yeah, because like we have our perfect avatar in Aurora, but the numbers just don't make sense to carry it as a rental because people pay more for a single family. So it makes more sense for us to do it as a flip single family than it would be for us to do conversions, spend a fortune, and then try and get it rented out to cover the costs.
Yeah, it's highest and best use. Durham's an interesting layout because you literally go from one city to the next city to the next city, and when you're on the 401, you pass a city every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? And we start from Pickering and go all the way, well, let's just call it Bowmanville area. And the rents don't change. Pickering, Ajax, Whitby, Oshawa, Clarington, Bowmanville, they're all the same rent. So Pickering, because the proximity to Toronto is more expensive than Ajax and Whitby, we have not worked in any of those cities yet because of the price point versus the rents. So we try to get the best rents for the most affordable price point for the holds.
Yeah, you guys are stuck to everything on land as well. I haven't heard one condo yet.
For
Haven't
a
gone-
flip,
Anything.
Haven't gotten down that
no
road.
opportunity yet.
No, nothing's presented itself. We don't market to them either. We only market to.
Be easier. Just keep stuffing mailboxes.
Yeah, you guys did. You guys had one on Glendale and Oshawa, but couldn't get the wholesale deal. They wanted to go retail, so our team sold it for them.
Wasn't a condo building?
That was a condo townhouse.
Townhouse, so it's different.
Yeah.
It's a condo.
But no, I'm saying like a condo tower.
No,
Yeah,
no,
we haven't gone
tower,
up to those
no.
yet. Yeah, condo townhouse is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. A lot of things I want to ask about. Steven, I don't even remember if I've had you on the show before.
I don't remember either, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I was trying to think that. I was like, was I on a show before or not?
Because I'm trying to think about stuff I know about you if you've discussed publicly or not.
Yes, there's only one way to find out. I'll kick you.
I think you've been on the show before because we talked about you had a government job basically before.
Yes.
Before you got into
Yeah.
real estate.
Yeah.
Worked out?
Yeah, I worked out
Yeah, you worked out.
in the gym.
Leaving the job?
No.
No, I believe I had you on the show probably about a year after you'd quit.
So like 5 years ago then.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
Yeah, so
Show's old.
I was worked for the government in the prison system, maximum security prisons.
So it's a nice job, cushy. Good crowd to be
I
around.
sit back, good crowd. I sit back and say it was great for my family. It honestly was great. I mean, I had a great paying job. Started when I was 23, bought my first house when I was 23. So it helped, like, good job, unlimited overtime, pension, benefits.
Yeah.
A little bit of a dangerous job, but, you know, you learn to talk your way out of most situations. And, yeah, I did that till fall of 2016. We were talking about it on the drive up
Yeah,
here.
that's crazy, yeah.
And then, yeah.
You ever get hurt on the job?
Oh, yeah.
How bad?
Depends what is bad, right? But no, everything. I mean, you're maximum security prison with kind of the worst of the worst. So, you know, daily there were emergencies. You know, weekly or multiple times a week, emergencies involving where I'm involved. And yeah, and it was time to move on. I respected the job. I respect my colleagues, and I missed that part of it. But, you know, as you start to lose faith in, you know, people you work for, whether they be people or whether they be the actual employer, and then you just start thinking of other ways. And at that time, I was very modestly successful in my real estate investing, and
Yeah, but don't be modest.
no, and made the decision that Emma, my wife, was on maternity at the time, with our fourth. I just said, hey, I can handle this risk, and hung up the handcuffs. Yeah.
Is that the term, eh? Hang up the handcuffs?
I don't know.
You just make that up?
Take it.
No, I actually didn't hung them up. I stole them, and I have them at home. My kids use them around the house. But
Okay, I was gonna ask. I wasn't gonna ask what they're used for.
Yeah. Actually, my kids started playing with them. I'm like, oh wait, did I clean those? Or they still got like blood on them from before? But
I don't know if people understand like how messed up shit is in the world. I'll give context to that. People like freaking out about everything that's going on in Ontario and Canada. Like your good days probably weren't that bad compared to what people are complaining about these days.
no, it was a good job. It was flexible. Like after 7 years, I got into management and could manage my own area and had a lot of flexibility within what I did.
Yeah.
That's what kept me there so long.
Yeah, I still can imagine.
No, I couldn't imagine doing it either.
Yeah, because I always say like life is short. And,
It was actually cool back then. Like we would go to the bar, and a bunch of us, and like meet a bunch of people, and on the way back, I would go into the jail. Oh, geez, maybe I shouldn't say that. I would take tours
You don't
with
work
these
there
people at like 3 a.m. Everybody like under the influence of alcohol, taking a tour of the jail.
Yeah.
Through,
Really?
Oh yeah, through living
I
units,
wouldn't go.
stairwells, everything, and obviously like now or even in the like last 10 years, like there's no way you would even think of doing that. I just show up at the front door with like 6 people and take them through. That was crazy.
Really?
Crazy, yeah.
Wow, I didn't think of. Wow.
Because for me, that's a world I'd never, like, other than movies, no idea what that's like.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't, and that's why you have like a whole subculture of understanding there, like with your brothers and sisters on the job. A lot of lot of mutual respect and care for them.
Yeah, us real estate investors have that too.
Yeah. The only thing is if you don't have the support of your peers in there, you couldn't function. Like you think right now, you're like, screw the haters, I'm fine, I do my own thing. You really have to keep, you go into a unit, they lock you in the unit. They're the only ones with the keys and you're there with 30 offenders, right? That if they're not paying attention or something, like your life is in other people's hands every single day.
Jesus.
And it becomes normal to us.
You lasted 7 years.
I don't think I've lasted that long at all. That's impressive.
How many years? No, I didn't say I lasted 18 years.
18 years. You were there 18 years?
18 and a half years. After 7 years, I went from a correctional officer to like a management position, but it's still...
You're still there. You're
still
in that
actively
environment.
involved in the process. Yeah.
How was that mentally, like outside of work?
To be honest with you, you don't... There's definitely some PTSD. But when you're there dealing with it, everybody around you's dealing with it. So it's normalized. Every process of it. But you don't realize it until you get out and you're like, oh shit, like that wasn't healthy. Like the shit I saw, like it wasn't healthy. The shit I was a part of, it wasn't healthy. And you just shake it off. But
is there a TV show or movie that'd be pretty accurately depict what you saw? Because I go watch it.
I'm curious.
I don't know.
No, nothing is. None of the shows are. I mean, as far as do they wear orange jumpsuits? Yes. So, like, that's what it is.
Right.
But to actually live in there and be a part of the process, it's nothing. And to be honest with you, there are days that you could not believe you got paid because it was the easiest autopilot sort of shift or unit you were working. You had your feet on the desk all day. You were playing cards. Everything operated just perfectly. And you're like, can't believe that it could have been on an overtime shift. And you're like giggling to your partner, like, can you believe this is happening? And then there's other days that, oh man, like just insanity, right? And then it gets worse and worse and worse as government and politics go and paperwork involved, and it was already heavy and then got heavier and heavier and heavier, and you stop being able to do your job.
Right. I guess imagine being in a pandemic would have made things even way harder.
I missed it, right?
Yeah, you're lucky.
I missed it, but there's been lots of outbreaks where I worked at.
Yeah, it must have sucked.
Yeah.
For everybody involved.
Yeah.
Crazy. So
crazy.
I did ask if any questions were off limits before we
great.
started
Thanks.
recording. So we are in a pandemic. Today is January 5th.
6th.
So we're what? Second day into the lockdown? into this current lockdown.
Yeah.
Try and forget about that.
So you don't have to answer this.
Yep.
So what is it like to be a parent of having a family member who's immunocompromised?
Because you have your spectrum of people in society, right? Over here to over here. I found that no matter where people were on the spectrum, when I told them why I had concerns, they seemed to have full respect over how my wife and I were operating our family throughout this time, which was pretty cool to see happen. But yeah, we were super cautious, and we operated very slowly when people started coming into the houses and how they came into the house and how things happened. We just sat back and said, we have to protect our family, and if we make decisions that people don't love, we're okay with that. So we just have to be careful. And I know some people, have it a lot worse than us, that are alone or maybe with somebody they don't like. Like, we're a big family, right? Yeah. So
4 kids?
Yeah. So 6 of us, we keep busy. So, as down as you can get about this or that or whatever's going on, there's somebody always waiting to play mini sticks, or do a puzzle, or go for a walk, and I don't know what other fathers do, but when I'm looking to be stimulated by that, I have things in common with all four of my children. I just have to pick this thing and go with them, pick this thing. So it's sometimes hard to function where everybody loves everything, but yeah, like they're your own sort of best friends, right? And but yeah, we function okay, and people understood our side of things.
Yeah. So I've only been dad for 8 years. So last year, my son. So I have a rule in my house. Kids aren't allowed to wear socks if they're running. So generally, they're not supposed to be wearing socks in the house.
Grip.
Yeah, because of loss of grip when they're wearing socks. So my son had gone outside the house and he forgot something. So he came back into the house and he's doing the stairs, fell on his face, split his lip open, and then within 2 days he got infected. So then we're into McMaster Kids Hospital, right, to deal with it because he needs antibiotics. We're there for 2 days, and this sucks, right? Again, as a newer parent, I don't know if there's anything worse than having your child sick and you can't do anything about it. And that's nothing compared to what you're going through.
Yeah.
Can you share some details?
I talk about PTSD with the job at the jail, but there's obviously, on Mateo. Yeah, sure. Mateo got sick and he got cancer. He had a Wilms tumor on one of his kidneys. We had the kidney removed. We started chemotherapy, radiation, and it was, as any parent would imagine, the most traumatizing thing any family or little person had to go through. And then, unfortunately, they didn't get it, so he got sick again. He finished his treatment only 6 months and got sick again, and had to go through a whole new bout of radiation, super aggressive chemotherapy, and he struggles. He's not going to be as tall as he should have been because of the radiation. His kidney could not handle, his one good kidney could not handle the treatment that he received from the chemotherapy, so now he has stage 2 kidney disease that is permanent. So yeah, we just have to be, I mean, obviously there's a lot more involved in what we went through as a family, but you sit back and, what's the silver lining in it? Well, our family's closer, we're a little tighter, we're more understanding. I was all about waiting for the future before I opened up my pocketbook. But in last year, people would be disgusted in what I kind of bought, and I bought stuff for experiences with the family, from recreational locations, a boat, a swim spa, like whatever I could do to engage my family in having fun. So it's definitely reset sort of me as a father and a friend to my children and my wife, is just all of the small stuff that you used to sweat about all of a sudden doesn't matter. Whereas you'd feel stress and be worried about worst case scenario prior to this happening, I go into things with a completely different attitude. I used to be a perfectionist, and I tell these guys, I say, as long as we can get to 90% of the goal, I'm good all the way through. I'm not trying to get to 100. I'm not trying to get to 100. If we fail on this, great. Let's just try to fail on 10%. Let's keep moving on the 90%, and just stuff like that that used to bother me doesn't bother me anymore.
Would this have been possible if you stayed at the job? Would you have been able to take the time and invest in experiences?
No. Now, partially because of the pandemic, the world's become so much more virtual. Obviously, being in a prison is not virtual, but now we have conversations about traveling the world and what's happening this winter. Where can we go? What can we do? But that being said, there was a lot of flexibility before too. So it's hard to say. I can tell you that I would have wanted to be in either spot because I had a government flexible job that was very understanding to that type of thing. So I wouldn't have said that I couldn't have done it. I'm sure my peers and employer would have been okay with it too. So, but
could you afford it just with your work salary, or can you afford it with other means?
Well, just even before I've owned real estate for a while, and I always felt like I had something to fall back on. I didn't have family wealth to fall back on, but I did have enough asset to say, hey, I got into real estate. If I fail, if I'm the shittiest realtor in the world, well, you can still get by. You know, we live in a really nice house in a nice area. Worst case scenario, we move to an okay place in an okay area. Like there was just so many excuses I could have to.
1.15 for a bungalow in Bowmanville.
Yeah. Well, this was before that. But
Whippy's pretty nice, I hear.
Yeah, Whippy's nice.
All right. Bet you regret not saying things were off limits.
That's all right. It's okay. I don't really bring it up all that much, but you put me on the spot, so that's okay. I'm okay. I'm comfortable with it. It's something that sits with your life for life, and we talked about this even in the car. Like, I'm not done. I'm not over it. Like, it's there for the history. When you have a sick child and you think it's going to come back, so you just have that haunting thing over you every single day, and you have to take that and turn it into the best day you can, right?
It's not the same haunting, but whenever I see my kids wearing socks in the house, that's my haunt.
Yeah. Well, I need him around. He's my IT partner, so
He knows everything.
oh god, yeah.
Any final words you guys want to share? Anything you want to talk about?
No, thanks for hijacking us. And
Sorry.
Can we go now? Because
No,
I gotta
we have
get
to go
home for
golf.
dinner. I gotta get home for dinner.
No, this is great.
That's it.
Yeah. For now, until
Yeah.
episode 2 comes out.
Yeah,
and
I'll have to
maybe
do
this
one.
is our episode 2. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I think so.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
All right.
Don's first time, but yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll invite Rick next time.
Perfect.
He won't be disappointed, will he?
He wasn't
send
here.
it
It's
to
his
him.
problem, not mine.
Send it to him first.
Yeah, we should send it to him first.
Here's
a
a
picture of him.
You guys deal with this all the time. I'm sure. Imagine. I got a question. I get this question pretty common. Is it too late to invest in real estate?
Never.
Never. Did a Facebook post 4 weeks ago, and I
I
encourage
read
people.
it. Yeah.
And you need to own real estate. You have to own real estate. There's no question about it. If you can't buy it in Whitby or Oakville or wherever you live, you still need to own it. It's okay to rent where you live, but you have to own real estate. You have to.
Yeah.
So whether that means, like there's places in Canada that you can rent, that you can buy properties for $129,000. You have to do something, whether it's 129 or 200 or 250, get it, get the mortgage pay down, get the equity upside, get a little bit of rental cash flow. You need to hold the asset of real estate.
Yeah.
There's no option. You have to. And you're even talking about people starting to buy shares in other people's homes now.
That's crazy.
And which is just going to jack the market even further. Yeah. And as we know, just because things are heightened, and to any of your listeners, prices are not going to correct back down to where you thought that could be affordable.
Those days are long.
And in fact, spring Q1, Q2 are continuing to go on a steady rise. Predictions from not just me, but other people out there. So
Yeah. One of the best pieces of advice I got when I was buying my home was they told me to buy as much home as you can afford, which is not uncommon advice, which is completely uncommon advice. It's like, get something affordable.
it's so true.
Yeah.
But,
Who said that? Remember Thomas Beyer from?
yeah.
He wrote that in his book.
Did he?
Yeah.
Buy as much house as you can afford?
Yeah. Because that the tax free, it's this, it's that.
Yeah.
It's going to change value. Yeah. I agree and disagree because there's a whole rent where you are and stuff like that. But I get everybody's points on things.
Again, it's a bit specific to where and what, right? Like the Bowmanville property, I'd be comfortable with that. but might not be in a place where properties are 129,000.
Well, I mean, that's not far off. Like, I'm still talking about international cities. Cities with international airports. So it's not like I'm talking 6 hours north.
Yeah.
Like, you can actually still function.
Because the tenant's just going to pay down the mortgage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't have used that Bowmanville property because that's kind of a no-brainer. The house hack part of it.
Yeah.
Live in the basement, even rent out the main floor.
Yeah.
But
And JV, partner up. If it's that's the only other thing. If you really want to buy something, talk to your friend at work, talk to your best friend, figure out a way.
Yeah. Talk to us.
The two of you guys could get to a reasonable price that you get into something you can afford.
Yeah.
You have to get in.
I'd love for my clients to even just partner up. Like, just do 50-50 everything. Yeah. Just like you guys. Yeah. Figure out your strengths. One of you might like the property management. One of you might want to deal with the tenant side. Yeah. Right? Split it up. 50-50. I don't care. Yeah. Just get something.
Everybody wins at the end of the day.
And not even just win. At least you hedge. Yeah. In case this market gets out of control, which it has. Yeah. And it could very well still. Mm-hmm. At least you're hedged to participate in that.
It's such a crazy country. Like,
it's nuts.
98% of people living in 2% of the area. Yeah. How insane is that?
Oh, a lot of this country's cold.
Yeah. I know, but there's still great cities in colder areas that have been around. Obviously, because of resources. Like, who would have started a city in Edmonton if there wasn't oil? Yeah. Right? They figure out ways around it, but.
Yeah, I was actually making a joke with somebody. What discount or I was trying to apply $1 to it. At what dollar can I get you to live in Edmonton? Versus my friend was in Lancaster at the time, so like, at what dollar? How much savings or money do you have to make for me to get you to move to Edmonton?
So what if you lived in Edmonton part time and you and your spouse had virtual careers and you lived in Edmonton 8 months a year? It's beautiful. They have high-end golf courses. They got a lot to offer there. But yeah, those winters suck. I've gotten off the plane there, and I don't know what. Sorry, I know we're ending this podcast. I rented the car, and it was only going to be me there for 3 days. Yeah. So the first car sounds good. Rented it, and whatever it was, Toyota Tercel or something. Oh, and I get out of this airport. And the wind and the gusts, and it's like -20, and I'm going down this Anthony Henday Road, and I'm like, why the hell did I get this car? This is the worst idea ever. As soon as I got to my hotel, all of my colleagues, I'm like, no, pick me up. I'm not driving this piece of shit anywhere.
That's funny. Because if you get stranded.
Oh, yeah.
You're done.
Yeah. No, but I truly do like Edmonton, but I have no time for those winters up there.
Yeah. So winters are trying to kill us. All right, thank you, gentlemen, for so much for doing this on short notice.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening. If you want to learn how to invest in real estate from scratch, my team teaches beginners how to use the #1 investment strategy in a virtual free training class every month. Go to investortraining.ca/podcast to register for our next class. I publish an episode here every week, so subscribe if you want to keep learning from seasoned investors like myself and my guests. Again, if you're ready to learn the nitty-gritty about real estate investing, register for our next free virtual training class at investortraining.ca/podcast. Again, thanks for listening to the show. Talk to you next week.